Welcome to Z Multimedia Online. Don't forget to follow us on all our socials on TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube, ZTV, IG, X, and Facebook at ZFMGH. Do enjoy this video.
Into your car with a child, where do they sit? Do they sit in front? Do they sit at the back? What systems do you have in place to protect them? For many of us, the answer is easy. I mean, just sit in front. It's a short distance. We're in a hurry. Just sit down. It's just around the corner. These are some of the answers that we're going to give to my question this morning. It feels normal and it feels very harmless. Today, we're talking about something that sits very close to home. We're talking about child safety on our roads. Now, there's a new Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025, Act 683, and now in place. And Ghana, as a country, we are taking strong steps to protect our children, especially on our roads. But beyond the law, the real question is that, are we ready to live it? Are we ready to enforce it? And that is why this morning we're having this all-important conversation with two individuals who are at the center of some of these things that these things that we're going to talk about this morning. I have in studio Shirley Haizel-Ferguson. She's a project coordinator at LADA Institute. Shirley, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, Nee.
How are you doing?
Thank you. Fine, thank you. I hope you're well too.
Yeah, I'm well too, by God's grace.
Great.
Thanks so much for making time to be here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And also Simbiat Wiredu. Simbiat is the head of corporate affairs at the National Road Safety Authority. And she joins us over the phone lines. Simbiat, good morning.
Morning, Nee. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you too?
I'm very fine, thank you. And good morning to Shirley.
Good morning. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, good to hear from you as well.
All right, great. So let's get into our conversation. And I'm going to start with you, Simbiat. I mean, you are the center of the work towards the passing of this particular bill into law. First of all, what exactly does this new Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025 talk about when it comes to children or child safety really on our roads?
Okay, so I'm very happy with the question you started your conversation with. That when we board our vehicles, where do we place our children?
Yeah.
And so over the years, it's been observed that lots of children are placed at the wrong places or wrong spots in our vehicles. Up to the point that you find children sitting in front of drivers in private vehicles, and so many others, which is quite a worry. And so we had institutions, civil society institutions, and the public raising concerns and advocating for the safety of these children in vehicles, among others. And so this act is to review the existing regulations,
Okay.
which is children are not supposed to sit in vehicles, in front vehicles, but the age.
Sorry, Simbiat, sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Children are not supposed to do what?
I said children, the existing act talks about children not sitting in front of vehicles.
Okay, right.
But we are not quite specific on the date or the year. And so you find people saying 5 years, others saying 9, others saying 12 years. And so this review is looking at the age limit or the age bracket of children, that children are allowed to sit in vehicles. And so basically the conversation is to ensure that we have placed our kids at the right places in vehicles, and also to ultimately prioritize the safety of children. Even aside from the seatbelt or the placement, the law also looks at the child restraint. And so if you are having a small baby, you are supposed to ensure that the baby is well placed. You don't use your hands in your body as protection for the kids in vehicle.
Okay.
Because you as an adult, you are required to wear your seatbelt. And so the child is also supposed to be safely strapped in the vehicle, so that in cases of crashes, we don't have anybody being thrown in the vehicle or even outside the vehicle. And so the law also talks about the use of child restraints, child constraints in the vehicle. And so you're supposed to have a specified one, and so basically that's what the law talks about. And that's what we are seeking to get an amendment and implement it.
Okay, let me bring in Shirley into the conversation. I have some follow-ups, but let me just bring in Shirley to also make a few points. Shirley, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to the things that Simbiat has just spoken about.
Okay. So for one, let me correct. You mentioned Road Traffic Act 683. Road Traffic Act 683 is the existing one,
2004.
2004.
Yes,
so
but this is the amendment.
Is the amendment to 2004,
Right.
and this is the Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025.
Okay.
1153 or
Okay.
1153, Act 1153.
All right.
And it's not just, it's amending a number of things. Remember, this is the act that gave legal backing to the Okada commercialization of motorcycling, and among other things, helmets and everything. But I'm sure we are here today to talk about children. Yes. So the initial Act 683 actually did indicate that children between 0 to 5 years should not be allowed to sit in the front. That was Act 683. But
children between
0 to 5.
0 to 5.
That was
right.
the existing act,
Okay.
yes. But this amendment is setting the limits, or is increasing that to 12 years. So now we are going by global standards.
Okay.
Below 12 years, it's a crime to allow that child to sit in the front seat. So that is the seating arrangements in the new Amendment Act, Section 14. And it will interest you to know that it is not just about age, because it's also giving height and weight parameters as well.
I see.
Yes, a person shall not drive a motor vehicle with a child who is under the age of 12 years or less than 145 centimeters tall and weighs less than 36 kilograms. So it's an age, height, weight.
Let's take it slowly so that anybody listening to us will be able to get it well. So you're talking about motorbikes?
No, I'm talking about vehicles.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the law saying?
The law, Section 14, the amended act, provides that a person shall not drive a motor vehicle with a child who is under the age of 12 years. That is one. Or is less than 145 centimeters tall and weighs less than 36 kilograms.
What does that mean?
It means that if your child is under the age of 12, I think it's just taking into consideration the variations of development of children, because a child can be 12 years, but his size, maybe in terms of his height, he's shorter than the required 145.
Right.
And remember, it's preventive, because it's looking at the physique of the child. So your child could be 12 years, but if that child is limited in terms of height, and maybe you would understand when we look at the provisions talking about seat belts, because it means then that a child above 12 years should be at the back or front. Right? So let's take it this way. Your child is less than 12 years, put him at the back. Less than 12 must be at the rear. If your child is 12 and above, he or she can sit in front or at the back. Okay. Now, a child who sits either in front or at the back, ideally should be more than 12 and so should be able to use a seat belt.
Right.
Imagine that your child is not tall enough for the seat belt, because the whole reasoning behind the restraint is to make sure that you don't use an adult fitted seat belt that could damage the internal organs of the child, or even in terms of crash.
Too loose and
exactly. So imagine your child is 12, all right, and in terms of height, is short, and you strap with the seatbelt. You will not achieve
right.
the
protection
that
is
yes,
needed, right.
exactly. So that is why they gave the variation of age, height, and weight. So you can use it to determine where your child would sit.
Okay.
Now, a child who sits in front, we've established, should be beyond 12 years and should be able to use the seat belt. Children who sit at the back could be any child from 0 to 18, because by the law, a child is up to 18 years, right? So 0 to 18 can sit at the back.
Okay.
I hope that is clear.
That is clear.
But 0 to 12 at the back would require a different restraint protection from 12 years to 18 years.
Okay.
So I have a child who is 6. The child is at the back. I have another who is, say, 14. The 14 can easily wear the seat belt. But the one who is 6, that is where the child restraints system conversation comes in.
Right.
So the one who is 6 would require a child restraint system that it's peculiar or that is unique to his or her age. Right?
Yeah.
You would not expect a baby, to use the same child restraint as a child who is 7, for instance. Will you? So that is why there are variations in the child restraint
as well.
Systems. Yes.
Okay.
So I think basically
those are the key things.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So for anybody who is listening to us, I want us to break it down for the ordinary driver. What must they stop doing immediately?
If you ask me, don't put a child below 12 years in the front seat. That should be easy to do. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. For me, that's key. And 2, don't let your children loiter in the vehicle whilst the car is in motion.
Because I see that a lot with even those who go and carry or go and pick students from school.
Yes.
Sometimes you see one driver with about 15 kids parked at the back. Some of them are holding the window. They are looking outside, and all of that. Yeah. And it's quite worrying.
It is. And so the state, much of the advocacy we've been doing is to tell the state that you have a responsibility. Yes, parents and drivers have a responsibility, but the state has to make sure that we as parents and drivers live up to the responsibility, and that's why we've been advocating for the law to be strengthened, at least to start the basis of ensuring behavioral change.
Okay. We'll touch on a few other things shortly, but let me come to Simbiat. Now, Simbiat, you are with the NRSA. So, what would you also say that drivers should stop doing immediately?
All right. So, like Shirley said, we are looking at the placement of vehicles in the placement of children in vehicles. So, if you are a parent or if you are a driver who carry vehicles or who carry children, you should know where to place the children in the vehicle. And then you also have to get them seated properly. So you place them well, you position them well, which, like we have said so far, that children below 12 should be placed behind the driver, which is at the back of the driver. And so that is one. Every driver should know this. If you are carrying children, those below 12 years should be at the back. Position them at the back. So apart from the position, you seat them properly. You make sure they are well seated and they have their belt strapped. And so wherever they are, whether the back or the front, which are children above 12 years, the front, which children above 12 years should sit, you also make sure that they are well seated and they are well strapped. I mean, they are wearing their seatbelt. And if they are babies, you have the right to screen for them. And so you have carried them properly in the vehicle. So this is 3 actionable things that parents or drivers should know. They are well positioned, they are well seated, and it's well restrained.
Okay.
So drivers should know this. As we are talking about this, we are educating, but it goes with some penalties.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
we'll come to that. We'll come to the penalties shortly. Yes, but Shirley, you spoke about child restraint system. I know Simbiat also mentioned that earlier, but I want you to tell us what exactly is a proper child restraint system in our context.
Okay, in our context.
Yes.
So, whilst this law was being worked on, the Ghana Standards Authority was also developing standards for child restraint systems. When we talk about standards for child restraint systems, we're talking about adopting, or the standards people call something homologating or something anyway. But we have the Regulation 44 and Regulation 156. I think 156 is quite current because it tries to merge all the different requirements in one. But what it is that, like I said earlier, when it comes to a child below, like, let's say 0 to 9 months of age, I don't know if you have observed, but their car seat is quite smaller, right? Yeah. And sometimes it has to be rear facing. It doesn't have to be front facing.
Right.
Okay. So they have a particular, because of the fragility of their body. Then there is another one that can go up, like you can use from 1 year to maybe the age of 7, depending on how the child's physique is.
Yes.
And so when it comes to child restraint, I would say there are 2 major types. The first one I spoke about, the very little baby one, and then the next stage. But there is also what we call the booster seats. I don't know if
what
booster seats. So it's like a cushion, right? It's for older children. So it raises. There's one that you can just put on the seats, but it must have the usual strap, and there's one that you put on the car seats. Okay, so there are different types tailored to age of the child, such that the most important thing is it should be able to secure and sit well on the child's body.
Right.
So imagine putting a baby in the second level of child restraint that I spoke about. It's not going to serve the purpose for which you want to protect
the child restraint.
Yeah. So if you ask me in terms of our context, I think our context is the global context based also on what unfortunately, I don't know. I'm yet to figure out what the Ghana Standard Authority has agreed on, but I know there's a standard for that. And in due course, education on that would be carried out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me go back to Simbiat. Now, Simbiat, you started talking about the reason why this law was introduced. Okay. So if you're following us on our live stream, we have some pictures or some child restraints being shown currently. And so if you're listening to us on radio, you may want to come on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. And then you can see the pictures we are showing of some child restraints that you can actually use for your kids. Yeah. So that is that. But Simbiat, let me come back to you. Now, you talked about why the law is necessary at this point in time. Is there anything in relation to a spike in child-related road accidents that is influencing this decision to introduce this at this time?
There are crashes which involve children below 18 years. But for some reason, I don't want to go into the comparison with adults people above 18 years.
Okay.
And so for child safety, which is very paramount here, or for every person's safety, which is very paramount, we are the National Road Safety Authority mandate is to ensure that general crashes are used. And so child safety is very important, irrespective of where the child is. And so I think once we start imbibing the culture in children by placing them right, getting them in their seatbelts, and also doing the right things in our vehicles, even before they understand what's going on around them, I think it will go a long way to conscientize the children and then get them to be road safety conscious as they grow up. Also, with the statistics about children's safety, it's not as adults. It's not as the ones we have for adults. Traditionally, or basically, you have like 75% above practice, especially about 18 years, some about anything about 25% for people below 18 years. But like I said earlier, every person, safety is very powerful. And so it's good we talk about it, and we ensure that children are placed properly. But that notwithstanding, we record projects where we have kids being thrown out of people, where kids are injured, or in fatal cases which involve children.
Right.
And so it's something that is worth discussing, and something that is worth taking action to ensure the right things are done.
It's done. Right. Okay, let me come to you, Shirley. Do you have anything to add to that? Because I saw you nodding.
Oh, yeah, I agree with what Simbiat is saying. For me, I really don't like to talk about statistics because, as she said, every life is important. But it will interest you to know that globally, the statistics show that children between 0 to 29 years, I think, that road traffic crashes are the major killers of people within that age. And of course, children sit within that age range. And imagine a child's life lost to road traffic crash. I mean, just imagine. You've cut off a whole future. You've disrupted the child's, the family of the child and all of it. So every life matters. If you can prevent it, why not prevent it than letting it happen? And then we will cry over what we could have avoided. So when it comes to statistics, yes, it helps us, it gives us a picture, but every single life matters.
Right.
So it's important that we take
note of that and then work towards it. Okay. So also early on when you started speaking, you spoke about the awareness. I mean, you spoke about parents and drivers knowing what to do and all of that. I want to know how, I mean, you are on the ground sometimes. You get to see the response to some of these things, especially these laws that we put in place. How aware are parents and drivers when it comes to these rules that we put in place, even the previous one from 2004 and even this new one?
Interestingly, when we were doing this advocacy, when we began, we did a survey, and it would interest you to know. We thought people didn't even know about the law of not placing young children in the front
seat.
They knew. A lot of the responses suggested that they were aware, but I think what they were not aware of was the age. Right? They know that children are not allowed to sit in front, but the age is what people were not really aware of. Okay. But then the whole thing about securing a child in a car, a lot of parents and drivers were aware that you needed to secure your child in the vehicle. And you ask, why are you not doing that? Oh, the child will not agree to it, blah, blah, blah. A whole lot of, and when it comes to child restraint, the common excuse is that it is expensive. And so, yeah. So in terms of awareness, there is a long way to go. But you see, that is why the law is important, because if there are penalties for disregarding the law, then people will begin to sit up and find a way to do the right thing. So that's where
I see. So
education comes in, but we will need to also strengthen enforcement of the law as well.
Still on your survey that you conducted, so where was the real situation? Is it among trotro drivers, taxi drivers, or private cars? Yes. Where did that fall? What was the situation when in these groups?
Okay, I think it was largely private. It was largely private because we targeted schools, parents of children. Right. Yeah. So it was largely private. As for the commercial, we all know, we see. So we know that there are challenges in that side, which we'll need to talk about when we are beginning to implement this law. But I feel that we should start from somewhere. And it's easier to start with a private vehicle. And then I don't know if I can go into the conversation because I know it will come up anyway that commercial vehicles, how are we going to work around that? Yeah. You know, when we were doing this, one of the model laws we looked at was the Philippines, right? And what they did indicate in the law was that the ministry where they call it the Department of Transport, which we will call our Ministry of Transport, should do a survey. No, is it a survey? They should do, they should conduct a study to see the feasibility of using child restraint in commercial vehicles, right? If they feel it is not feasible, then they should come back and recommend what can be done to achieve the level of protection that we need to achieve.
Because I was going to ask whether
I knew you were going to ask. It comes up all the time,
right.
you know, it comes up, and it's a real challenge. Of course, every law would have implementational challenges, but that is why the law has to come in force anyway, so that you begin to identify the gaps and then begin to consider it like a foundation, right? So, unfortunately, our law doesn't have that specificity as the Philippines law does. I do not know what the LI will contain. Remember, the LI is also it's been laid, waiting for the 21-day maturity.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if the LI addresses those specific issues, but as it stands, this is the law. And so enforcement will have to find a way to enforce. The ministry, National Road Safety Authority, and other stakeholders would have to find a way to work on the gaps that will come along as we go. Yes.
Right. Okay. Let me just announce the phone lines in case anybody's listening to us and they have any questions. If you're tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitra B. Hammond. And this morning we're discussing child safety on our roads in line with the new Road Traffic Amendments Act, the 2025, that has been passed by Parliament. And my guests are Shirley Haizel-Ferguson. She is with the LADA Institute, and also Simbiat Wiredu. She is with the National Road Safety Authority. And these are the two individuals I'm having this conversation with this morning. You're free to join us. Send us a WhatsApp. If you have questions, comments, feel free to send them to 0544 321019, 0544 321019, and then we read your messages for you. Also, you can call us on 030 3956 0303956 and then we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment under the live stream, and we'll also read those ones for you. Yes. Okay. Now, Simbiat, let me come to you now. You are with the NRSA. Now, the law is clear. Even the 2004 one that we spoke about earlier, it is clear that these are the things that must be done. But oftentimes, we don't see behavior match what is in the law. Why do you think that is a problem? Or why does that problem exist?
Okay. And so I think Shirley mentioned something about education. And for education, let me borrow her one. We have a long way. And so, yes, I think part of the causes why we still have people not appreciating what the law has stipulated is that they do not know. A lot of people do not know. And even those who know, a lot of them fail to accept and even implement it. And so we have instances where we try to correct people at transport terminals against having their children in the front seat. You find them fighting us because they feel, oh, I'm paying and I like the front seat because I'm carrying an additional load. And so it's where I can find a little space around. And so they do not appreciate the fact that the law speaks against it. And so they must comply with the law. And so it has to do with education, basically, and enforcement. And so as we are waiting for the regulations to be passed, I think platforms like what you've given us now and others that we can find, and then we can generate ourselves, we can use those platforms to educate the public. And then parents and schools. I mean, we keep going, National Road Safety Authority keep going to schools and other places to engage people. We try to correct some of these anomalies, but you find them resisting. You find them, oh no, it's not like that. And so I think the enforcement agencies need to sit up and enforce the law, because it's enforceable and there are penalties. And so once we start enforcing it, and we carry it, the media carries it, I mean, people will appreciate what we are trying to do, and they will do the right thing. Yeah.
Now, some people actually say that we usually rush the law without preparing the people adequately for them. And you talking about education, of course, Z Multimedia is giving this platform so that we can educate people about it. But I want to know what are some of the things that the NRSA has been doing or plans to do to actually enhance this education that we've identified as a problem.
All right. And so for us at the National Institute, we find every opportunity to educate the public. And so we are an advocacy institution. Any chance we get, we educate the public. Any platform we get, we even find that some ourselves and then educate the public on the laws and every other recipe, education, any recipe lesson. Also, I think our little gap is the drivers or motorists themselves do not take it up upon themselves to also know the law. Apart from what we bring them, which they see, maybe somebody even feel it's a bother. You people always come here, you people always saying this, you people are saying, we should always do this, but why are you not doing that? Which is a story for another day. But I think once we decide to use the road as motorists, we are compelled by law to learn the laws of the road. Every driver, it's not just learning the skills to drive and getting a license and moving. There are laws that abide by what you are doing on the road. As a road user, you are compelled by the law to follow the regulations. And so I think that is a little gap that I've observed.
Okay.
Motorists, private, commercial, do not take it upon ourselves to take the law and learn to complement whatever the National Road Safety Authority and other agencies are coming up with. And so I think that's what we going forward, people should do to help them understand what is going on and then reduce the crashes. Okay.
So the motorists themselves must take responsibility. NRSA too must continue the education. NGOs like LADA Institute also have their role to play in there. But most on a primary level, who is supposed to take responsibility? Shirley, primary responsibility. Supposed to take that
for protecting a child in the vehicle. As a parent or a driver carrying a child.
I know you expect me to know. I know. I just want you to say it.
You want somebody to come and put a whip on you? I mean, you know.
You just said it yourself. You just said that drivers should be responsible.
Yes.
But of course, I want us to stress that. So if anybody is listening to us, they know that I have to be, and that's why I'm asking about that. Shirley.
Yes, you did say something about people saying we rushed to do laws without
preparing the people.
What are we preparing them for? Okay, that's a different conversation. But my point is, I think we should see laws as foundational, because this law, we would not be sitting here having this conversation if there was no law to back it.
That's true.
Nobody would listen to you, right?
Yeah.
Then the typical Ghanaian would not listen to you until they are totally convinced that it is for their benefit. But there's a law. The law then would begin to propel advocacy for behavioral change.
Right.
That is one. Secondly, operational challenges are always a part of lawmaking. And so once the law has come, there will be operational challenges. So it is for implementing bodies and agencies to figure out how those operational challenges will be resolved. Otherwise, we will sit. It's like saying that you are not, nobody should buy, because not everybody has, let's say, what they call the fire extinguisher. So you will not have any regulations on building codes or something like that.
Okay.
You see, when the fire happens to you and you don't have your extinguisher, you say that there's no law, so you don't have an extinguisher. Who is affected? It's you.
It's you, right.
So I want us to understand something. Maybe when we understand, if your listeners understand this, then maybe we can make a headway. And it's for the same reason why as adults we use the seatbelts, right? There are 3 levels of crashes. When there's a crash, the road traffic, Simbiat, they say now we don't say accidents, right? Road traffic crash. So let's educate them. We don't say accidents.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So when there's a road traffic crash,
Okay.
the first thing that happens is that the car hits an object. Another object. True?
Right.
Okay. That's the first collision. Now, the car will stop. We are trying to apply some physics here. The car will stop at that impact.
Yeah.
But the person or the people in the vehicle will not stop immediately. They will continue to move at that same speed that the car was moving until they also encounter another object. So imagine that is where the first, that's the second. The second collision is when the individual collides with whatever object. Exactly. Yeah. So that is where the seat belts and the child restraints play a very important role.
Yeah.
So it prevents, what the seat belts will do will be to distribute the force across the body. Same with the child restraints.
Okay.
So imagine, like I said, a little child wearing a seat belt. That impact will not be felt, right?
True.
Okay. And then there's also this other collision where if after even that individual has hit whatever object it is, there could be something flying in the car or around, then comes to hit you again. A lot of things can happen within that moment of a road traffic crash.
Yeah.
And so when you are restrained, it prevents you from being ejected or being injured. Imagine your head hitting the windscreen. Okay, so those safety devices we take for granted, that's very important.
Very important.
And it's so funny that you will see a taxi driver would only put it on when he sees a law enforcement officer, as if he's doing it for the law enforcement officer. It's for your own safety. So I think that is where the battle.
That's where the battle is.
I mean,
the
we
behavioral
need
change.
Yes. So Simbiat, we have a long way to go.
Absolutely.
To educate people. I mean, it's so disheartening when every day you wake up to news of road traffic crash, killing people, as if people are just things, are non-living things.
Right.
We keep hearing about the number of people are dead. I mean, when we sit behind the wheel, I think we need to begin to know that this is a machine. Anything can happen. And also, you can be very careful on the road, but you don't know what the other person is up to.
Right.
So every chance we have at securing or preventing a road traffic crash or fatality, we must begin to take responsibility for and not let anybody come to whip us to do what we have to do.
Right. And but I mean, that doesn't also take away the enforcement.
Of course.
As for the
of course.
Enforce the law. But I'm asking, are we ready? Are security agencies, or who exactly is responsible for the enforcement, and are they ready for that? Simbiat?
Yes. And so for me, I would say we are ready. When I say we, I mean everybody. In as much as we are drivers, I think enforcement starts with us. Before you move your car from your house, and then you get to the next point, anything would have happened. And so you need to enforce that you are safe. Whatever law to ensure that you are safe, you have enforced it. So you wear your seatbelt, make sure you go by the posted speed limit, your vehicle is in good shape. I mean, you are in a good shape before you move. And as you move, you have to make sure other road users by you are also safe. So you protect yourself and then others. So you get to the police checkpoint, and then he or she checks you. And so enforcement, the police entity does enforcement, yes. But I believe that enforcement starts with us, the individual. Because there are times in this country where police are taking off the road. Does that mean we are not going to enforce our laws? Does that mean a lot of crashes are going to happen?
Right.
No. It means we have taken enforcement upon ourselves, and we are making sure of our safety. And so, as a driver, you have to ensure your safety. Normally, when we go to educate people, we tell parents to educate and enforce that when the children are leaving their houses as riders, their husbands are leaving the house as motorists, they ensure that they wear their seatbelts and car helmets. That's one form of enforcement. Now, as we sit in our vehicles, a driver should ensure that all the occupants in the vehicle have their seatbelts strapped.
Yeah.
That becomes another level of enforcement. As we move the vehicle going, somebody in the vehicle, especially the driver, should ensure that he or she is not going beyond what he should go. That is also another form of enforcement. And so, as we are all taking the education upon ourselves to ensure that we've gotten some level of education, we should also ensure that we are aware. I mean, our licenses are expired. We go and renew them. Our roadways, their vehicles are not in good shape. Our bikes are letting us that they are faults. We have to enforce it ourselves. Before your next roadworthy check date is due, where you send the vehicle to DVLA to ensure that, the vehicle is in a good condition. Every single day, every single minute, you have to ensure that your vehicle is in a good condition.
Right.
As a driver, we have the skills, we have the laws, but we also deal with attitude. We are dealing with behavior. And so you have to ensure that when you are on the highway where the police are not there, you are not going beyond what you're supposed to do for your safety and the safety of others. And so I think the enforcement, we are ready. As we go out as road users, we should be ready to enforce the law. And so, we are ready.
But you didn't mention the police and all of those people. Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. All right. So do they have the logistics and the training to enforce this law?
Well, I think they have the training, they have the experience they have built over the years, and for the logistics, until they come here, I cannot speak to that. I cannot speak to that.
All
and
right.
the law, the tools, the law is there, and with the experiences we have, I think everybody should be able to interpret the law and ensure that whoever we are speaking to or whoever we interact with is doing the right thing. So I think we are ready.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some practical challenges. And I think, Shirley, you mentioned one early on about the affordability of the child restraint system, for instance. How do we deal with that? Are there some affordable alternatives or some maybe local solutions people can try and put in place?
That's a challenge because the last time I checked for the price of a child restraint system or a car seat, I was hovering 1,500 to 1,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
But also weighing that in life.
Investment. Thank you. So I think, you see, this is a new, I wouldn't even say it's quite new, but I think that we are now becoming aware of the need to ensure that this is enforced
right.
and operationalized. And so collectively, we need to begin discussions on how we can make this work. Okay. Elsewhere, sometimes the government gives subsidies. You see the way we've taken out taxes from sanitary pads.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is that arrangement where the government can take out import duties from such important safety equipment. So we can advocate for that. We can also advocate for corporate institutions to donate to hospitals such that hospitals can do like a rental system sort of. We can also look at the Ghana Standards Authority trying to create standards for second-hand child restraint systems such that they become affordable. Because at the moment, it is expensive because it is looking more like a luxury, thank you, than a safety
Right.
requirement. So once this law has been passed and is being operationalized, it would increase demand,
Right.
and by increasing demand, you are the economist. By increasing demand, we are likely to have some market shifts here
Right.
and there. So
Okay.
we have a long way to go. We need to begin to advocate, and for us, these are some of the things that we'd want to be talking about to ensure that the law actually
Right.
is operational.
So the call is to governments, yes, to look at things like that.
Yeah.
Simbiat, I think you have something to say.
Yes, I also suggest that the transport operators, when I say operators, everybody is included. So the ride-hailing companies, the taxis, and all the others should maybe branch some, not all, because if we say all the vehicles should have a restraint, a child restraint, it will be a very low shot. It will be something, that it will be very difficult for them to get. And so some can just have one in their vehicles to help, parents who are carrying children below 12 years or even babies. And so while drivers are enforcing that children and take that back of their vehicles, babies can, some ride-hailers can take it in their vehicles to help. Just a suggestion, not all.
I think it's a brilliant suggestion.
That can be a start to boost their business. Once I have a child with strength, so your child can be safe. Your child will be well traveled. The parents will be safe. Free. Yes, so that is just a suggestion.
I think it's a brilliant one.
Yeah,
brilliant
and the
suggestion.
hail riding,
ride-hailing.
the ride-hailing services, the Ubers and the Bolts.
Yeah.
I think it should be easy for them to invest in
that.
stuff like that for their passengers. So just, I think when we're going around taking suggestions, we heard that in some places you have the opportunity to, you see, when you're choosing the kind of vehicle that you require, you have the opportunity to choose a vehicle with a car restraint system, for instance. So there are a lot of things we can explore. We can do it. It's for the good of all of us. So it's something we should, I like the platform you've given us. We wish we would have a lot more people.
We're glad to be contributing to.
Yes, very grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. So I mentioned that we're going to talk about the consequence. What are the penalties for not, for not following or for non-compliance generally? Yes. What are the consequences? Are there some penalties people have to pay? And are they even strong enough to change behavior? And you are the center of behavioral change. So let me come to you.
Well, the law tells us that a person who contravenes these provisions is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not more than 10 penalty units.
Okay.
And we are told that the penalty unit is 12 cedis. So 10 penalty units.
That's like 1,002. Oh, and I'm a mouse.
Martin, yeah.
Or
to a term of imprisonment of not more than 4 months.
Okay.
Or to both. Yeah.
Okay. I see. That's
to add to that.
Okay.
I think nothing is more deterring than having a fractured leg or an amputated arm, or even losing a loved one. Yes. So even if the money is not, if you are not feeling the money enough, or if the imprisonment, how about losing an arm or a leg? And so we should be thinking about all that as motorists or road users.
right. I like that. I like what you just said, Simbiat. It carries a lot more weight. But I'm curious. The penalties you talked about, Shirley, are they strong enough to prevent people from not?
Are they strong enough? 12 cedis, 10 times 12 is what? 120.
120, yeah.
120 cedis maybe is not strong. Obviously, it's not strong. But like, I would agree to what Simbiat said. I really don't know the thinking behind the 10 penalty. It probably wasn't well thought through, but because I remember a law enforcement person telling me, say, the person will not exactly 120
yeah.
cedis, like that kind of thing.
The reason why I said 1,002 because I wanted to connect that to how
The
much restraint costs. So that when you know that when you flout or you violate the law, you are paying an amount that could have saved you if you had just bought the the child restraint system and place in your car. And so I think maybe they should look at that, raise it to that level, the equivalent, so that you know that if you are caught 10 times, you could have saved yourself
exactly the whole
right.
And
I think
true.
that would be
something we would look at and take up as well in our advocacy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think our time is up, and so we have to go. But if there's anything we haven't touched on, you may want to do touch on briefly, you can do that. If there's nothing to, we can wrap up. Okay, all right, sure, that's fine. So let me take your final thoughts one after the other. So if you could speak directly to every Ghanaian parent and driver this morning, what would you say to them? And I'll start with you, Simbiat, and then I'll end in studio.
All right. If I'm supposed to meet every Ghanaian parent out there, I would say we have the responsibility to taking care of our children. And as road users, especially a driver, you have the responsibility to get your, passengers and yourself to your destination. And so it is your responsibility to ensure that your drive or your ride is safe and every occupant in your vehicle is safe. Up to the point that of carrying your own child or a child in your vehicle. So we should prioritize the lives of the children we are having in our vehicles as we carry them.
All right.
Yeah, we should dream as our future, and that we have a lot more to contribute to society, and so we should ensure that we are safe in our vehicles. And I would also want to thank you, your platform. Thank you, people, for the platform you've given us. Is it ZFM?
Yeah, ZFM.
ZFM. Thank you so much, and you've been doing a good work. I think you've called us several times to share road safety education with your listeners, and I think it's very good. And so we thank you very much.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome, Simbiat. All right, Shirley, let me wrap up with you.
I'm sure the same question, right?
Yeah, the same question.
My child, the school my children attended something, they do something very beautifully. They always talk about, even before this law, way before, I think somewhere last year, our PTA agreed that we shouldn't have children. They don't want to see us having children on restraints in the vehicles or even sitting in front. And so every now and then, there's that caution that we still see parents doing this. We need to stop. And so I think we all need to be our brothers' keepers. Right. Sometimes you tell somebody and it's like you are disturbing the person. I say we are too known. But I think we need to constantly encourage people right. that it is for our own good. And one thing we've not even spoken about, we've not even gotten there, is children who are placed in motorcycles. That's a whole conversation on its own. So I think, yes, I would reiterate what Simbiat said to use Z Multimedia. Thank you so much. Solomon, you've been very fantastic. Thank you. We are grateful, Ni, that you've given us this time. And there's a lot that you can also do to help carry the awareness on.
Right. Thank you guys. So thank you too so much. Shirley Haizel-Ferguson, she's a project coordinator at LADA Institute, and she joined us in studio. And also Simbiat Wiredu, she's the head of corporate affairs at the National Road Safety Authority, and she also joined us over the phone lines. These are the two individuals we spoke with this morning, and it's been a great conversation. Special thanks to them, and also special thanks to you for listening to this conversation. We hope that whatever you've picked from this chat this morning, you're going to implement it so that we can all be safe on our roads and also protect ourselves and our families and the future of this country. So thank you very much. That'll be all for.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and also do follow us on all our socials: on TikTok at Z Multimedia, LinkedIn at Z Multimedia, YouTube at ZTV, IDX, and Facebook at ZFMGH.